Yeah, we're doing triple support today, which is dominating rivals at high level and low level. It's not as good at high level because you can combine ults and you can cut through it. More importantly, it's fucking boring. It's the most boring I have ever seen in my life. Triple support in rivals. It's terrible. 12-second ults. Cloak and Daggers goes up to 18 seconds. Literally, you can be locked out of the game for a full minute at a time, and by the time that minute's gone, you can have the first ult back around already. Rivals is in a catastrophe right now because it's going to be significantly easier to do at low rank than it is at high rank. This is just going to become more and more of a problem as it filters down. It is awful. Triple support is the worst thing I think I've seen in years. I think this is worse than any meta in Overwatch already. Ever. I think this is significantly worse than GOATs. This is terrible, guys. Like, really damn bad.
Yeah, I want to yap about triple support, and I need the game that represents like why I dislike triple support right now and why it's super. If you look, let's see this game. I just need a good example of a triple support game where it's just like a complete mess. Yeah, there's a lot of triple support going on in the higher ranks. I don't think it's the best comp. I think probably 2-2 is better. Nevix has also said the same thing. But I can't stress this enough how boring triple support is. It reminds me of Ghost back in the day. With Cloak and Dagger ult, if you just like start from the beginning. Yeah, I saw Tim to that one's content. But if we just start from the game, like at the beginning of the game, it just like boils down to who gets support ult first. And everything after that doesn't really matter because you can't kill anything, right? So if they have Cloak and Dagger or we have Cloak and Dagger ult, we just go in.
Yeah, he was saying things like triple support was a good thing. Yeah, he was. He was. I think he was actually agreeing with SK saying it because SK was like, "Oh, triple support is so fun. It's such a goofy, wacky thing." And then SK like went and then started being like, "Oh, those comps are kind of boring." In like the next breath, I don't know if they actually put any thought into this.
We Cloak and Dagger, we double support, it was really bad. But imagine if we didn't. We would have they Cloak Dagger themselves, right? That's so stupid. This means that for like 16 seconds, I think that's how long it lasts. Look at this, look at this mess. Look at this mess. Nobody can kill anyone. Their Bucky's
this is a mess. An absolute fucking mess.
Nothing, a clone. Then they copy, I think they copy, yeah, they copy Cloak and Dagger, right? So after they copy Cloak and Dagger, they ult. So now our ult is gonna run out before their ult, right? Because we screwed up. So now, while we're sitting there chilling and nothing is dying, we actually managed to get one person because they made a mistake, right? Strange ults. We're chilling. Then we Mantis ult, just stay alive a little bit longer. We've had one kill. Okay, we've had 2 kills. They had 2 kills here, right? At which point they should have won the point, but they can't. So now we Mantis ult, and they Mantis ult, and now everybody's undefeatable. And then I keep stalling point. I think Kaiju will probably die here. But this is 2 minutes of my game. 2 minutes of my game where nothing is dying. It's like 1 or 2 people.
You just gotta outlast the enemy team support ult, right?
Ultimates. Nobody can die. It's so annoying. It's actually so annoying to play against. You could go Groot.
I told you.
Go Moon Knight, but here's the thing: Cloak and Dagger actually can tank Moon Knight ult if you stack up your dashes enough on the same spot. So it doesn't really matter. Second of all, you need a good Groot player, and third of all, if they just ban Groot or Moon Knight, it doesn't matter. So let me just start from the beginning here. We lose 2 players instantly because Necros is feeding and he's stupid. Then we lose 1 more person here, I think. Yeah, our Mantis.
But it doesn't matter how many people you lose, because
you're
immortal. You are literally immortal.
Mind you, we made a mistake. We actually live for another minute of us stalling here. Then I go on the Mantis in the back line. I try to kill her. I can't. I go point. I'm ulting. So I'm stalling the point for longer. And we're waiting for Kaiju to get another ult, which he's getting off of me. Look at his ult charge right now.
I won a game yesterday where the point was just about to be capped. And literally twice the Cloak and Dagger was an idiot and fed. And then came back after the entire team died. Ulted the point. And we all respawned and walked back in the time that they ulted the point. Twice they did that.
1 kill. Look at this. Look at Kaiju's ult charge. It's 75. Almost has ult. It's been non-stop fighting. Non-stop. It's an absolute mess. And we won the fight. We won the fight even though we made a mistake. We stacked our ult just because nobody can die. They've been fighting non-stop since the 3:13. So once they got to the point, the fight just ended. Isn't that crazy? And now next fight, can you guess what's gonna happen next fight, guys? Can you guess what's gonna happen next fight?
The same.
Look at this.
Is it the same?
We have Cloak and Dagger ult, and we have Loki clone. They Cloak and Dagger ult first. Look at this. So now we Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah, you got to use the second.
Now there's 2 Cloak and Daggers. They strange ult. They can't kill anything. Then they copy They Cloak and Dagger, then we Mantis ult. Alive longer. Our Loki died here. We're just stalling. We're just stalling. It's actually just insane.
Man, what is
And next
wrong
fight,
with
we have
people?
Cloak and Dagger ult again. Nobody from our team can die. Because we're on defense and they need to cap. We're just chilling. Nothing is dying. Us against the world. Us against the world. Tell me, this is not absolutely horrible. This is like 10 times worse than Goats Comp back in the day in Overwatch.
Yeah.
Because in Overwatch, at least you didn't have 30 million supporters
Yeah,
make you
it is.
immortal. Well, this game has a big issue with giving supports ultimates that just don't let you kill anyone. Yeah, you guys are having fun, I'm sure. But like from my perspective, there's big issues here with Marvel Rivals, and that's that they keep giving supports ultimates that make everybody unkillable, which is really boring. They last for way too long.
By the way, these floating platforms are bullshit. These ones here.
And usually when you're
Do you know what happens with these floating platforms up here? When they revive themselves, they fucking go like all of it disappears. I died because I was standing on a normal, like just a normal platform that was a little bit broken, and I just fell directly through it because all of it became intangible for no reason whatsoever while it repaired itself. No animation before it, no telegraph before it. Literally just instantly turns green and drops you through it. Like what's that about, guys? Am I crazy? Like people are saying that if you pick more than 3 supports, there should be a drop of like 20% healing. And like that. People are saying these kind of like crazy things. Doesn't that defeat the purpose of being open queue in the first place, right? Surely that defeats the purpose of it. If like picking 3 of them gives you a nerf, what's the point in being open queue? It's crazy. Yeah, why does the ping not just ping? Why do you have to be perfectly still in order to get a ping with the middle mouse button? If you move it at all, or move your character at all, or move anything, it doesn't go through. What is that?
And now for the supports.
They're
Defensive
massively
alts like
problematic.
Luna, Cloak and Dagger, Mantis, they make this game a nightmare. It is so unfun. Explain to me. Explain to me this. Why can Cloak and Dagger get their ult back in like 30 seconds? Why? It should not be that easy to get your ult back that fast. I have heard that voice line so many fucking times. And they gave her 4 dashes now, so she's even stronger. It's a nightmare. It's a fucking nightmare.
I started playing Rivals today at GM2, right? GM2 like 30 elo, and let me just say I end off at fucking GM370.
Misinformation? How's her husband?
Usually I end up higher because you know I can just climb, and if I don't, I give myself like a 20 fucking like grace period, like a 20 elo below grace period, right? Holy fuck, I cannot play this game today. The only losses I had today were the triple support. And you could call this a skill issue all you want, because it is. But I cannot physically deal with triple support. I cannot play and do triple support, bro. And you bro, if you are Celestial, if you are Eternity, for the 2-1 above all
Yeah,
players
update.
that are
Sorry, I stopped responding. Yeah, you need the update on the artist from yesterday. So, where were we? I think we're at the, by the way, if you have idea for your Twitch channel, and then I said, okay, please, sure, make the replies, because I can't spell reptiles. Beaners are in the picture. Then they said, are you streaming? Let me join your stream. Did you end your stream? And I said, yes, I was shy. I didn't want to be overwhelmed by new people watching me. And then they said, why? And I said, I'm a naturally scared person, which is why I want pictures to show people I'm large and strong. They said, I've got you. So I have many questions related to your requirements. So can we discuss the requirements? Of course. I really like the picture here, but I'd enjoy him being green and stronger. And then I'm sorry, I crashed out. I didn't keep going. Okay, I want to know how to handle it though. What's the secret to beating the meta in Marvel Rivals? Is this going to be a trash coaching thing, or is this going to be good? I run ship. Hello, I run ship. I love your board at the back. That's cute.
Different metas for season 1 of Marvel Rivals. Currently, we're GM2, which is the top 0.07% of the player base, but I've been gone the last few days, so we climbing. First meta I want to talk about that I think is very prevalent right now in season 1 is the 3 support meta utilizing 3 strategist supportive ultimates. And I mean the ultimates that are going to be healing everyone, making the team virtually invulnerable for an entire team fight. The things I'm referencing more so are like Mantis, Luna, Cloak and Dagger, Invisible.
A variety stream. I'm definitely going to variety stream after I release the video, because I really need to get it off my out before I start doing anything like interesting. If I start doing variety stream, I want to put more time into it, if you get what I mean. Like 12 hours a week isn't enough to really hold an audience. So yeah, so not until I get that out.
Woman and Loki.
But
Any
yes, I'd love to do a Disco Elysium and Catherine. That would be amazing.
Combination of those 3 can be very difficult to handle, but there are ways to handle it. One of the first ways to handle these support is something I talked about in my previous video, and that is Magneto. Magneto does a really good job shutting down certain ultimates, including things like Cloak and Dagger. Once you get really coordinated with your team, you can actually have them fire.
Oh shit, it's you see what he's doing here, up here? This is your this is your infinite runner game.
Upon the supports that are using ultimates that have extra shields, like Luna, who gets to 525.
Every single person. The game's shit. It's really bad right now, but don't worry, there's this really cool thing you can do by throwing a rock at them.
HP, make sure you drop that shield down so that Magneto can actually take them out. It's obviously much easier with things like Cloak and Dagger, who are stationary after every single dash. That being said, it's not the only way to handle this meta. Some of the best Vanguards to handle this meta besides Magneto include things like Strange, who's able to dive in potentially stun or CC the backline before they can get their ultimate off.
Is Magneto just Sigma? He's one of the long-range poke characters, but his ult is a rock that you can throw at them.
Side of that, Thor actually does a really good job pressuring the backline, especially if they're running 3 supports. He can be very oppressive, and his ult can actually sweep the backline if used properly, although he is much more difficult to climb with. He does a great job of that as you get to higher ranks. Groot is also really good because he can combo his ultimate to ensure wipes onto the backline, but we're going to talk about him because he has this whole separate meta right now. Things to handle it on the DPS front include things like Hela, who actually has the ability to damage through Invisible Woman if done properly. Hawkeye, who can be very patient with his headies, and if you are able to drop shield, Hawkeye can actually cancel those ultimates with a well-placed shot. Iron Man is self-explanatory. His ultimate is great, but it is telegraphed, so you can get it stuffed, but it does do a great job of eliminating those supports. Punisher with Rocket can be pretty good. It just is not as practical as some videos make it seem in order for you to shut down these support ultimates. If teams learn how to rotate cooldowns and use natural cover, it's actually really difficult.
Magneto's primary fire feels bad audio, and bad hit sound, and really quiet hit sound as well. Even the secondary fire feels really bad on Magneto.
To use Punisher with Rocket to drop one of the supports mid-ultimate, especially if they're juking properly. Psylocke does an alright job of it as well, but it's way more difficult to actually find value using Psylocke onto the backline, especially now that shields get blocked and actually get attacked by Psylocke's ultimate, so you could put a Strange shield up and help protect your backline, but she can actually take out supports mid-ultimate like Invisible Woman, Mantis, etc. if she's able to find them with just themselves as a target, or maybe 2. Moon Knight is incredible at it, but
you'll never find them just as themselves as a target. What are you on about?
Discuss him in another section of the meta, and we'll talk about that shortly. Another surprising sleeper pick that is actually pretty good at handling this meta and is a lot better now than I believe she was in the past, that is Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch's ultimate is actually a lot more valuable now than it's ever been, specifically because of this meta. If you use Scarlet Witch's ultimate inside of your team's Invisible Woman's ultimate, you can help clear the other Invisible Woman, or she has to run away, or things like Cloak and Dagger, anything that, even Luna, all of them are vulnerable. They
yeah, the Psylocke is bad advice
in that moment, which makes her so much more valuable.
I mean, this is kind of true that using Scarlet Witch ult inside a Invisible Woman ult probably pretty good.
Very few of her in these high ranks now. I'm in GM2, which is the top like 0.04% of the game right now, but I have seen a few really, really incredible Scarlet Witches.
If got another one shot to stop
these
to
different
cut through
ultimates,
the support.
Invisible Woman, or with a good Magneto that's keeping her alive, or things of that nature, people just focusing or keeping her up while she tries to get one of the supports, you can actually find success dropping the supports mid their ultimates with Scarlet Witch. Like I said, it's a lot easier with Invisible Woman now. The next meta I want to discuss is the combination of Moon Knight, who is unbelievably strong right now, in Groot. Moon Knight doesn't even need
the insta-kill combo.
Groot right now, just simply because of how large and how oppressive his ultimate is. It just finds picks before you even hear the voice line go off. But if you have a strong Groot, this is the most oppressive thing to deal with ever. Nice. Oh, I don't do it. It's just so crazy.
Oh no, it's fun and goofy. It's silly. It's an enjoyable video game experience. Everything's overpowered. I'm having so much fun. Yay! Rivals, it doesn't need to be balanced. In fact, it's good that it's unbalanced. Yay! Everyone hates sustain. Everyone hates being killed through sustain. It's all boring. It always was all boring.
It's just... This combination does a pretty good job shutting out meta because honestly, it's just a team wipe on a stick. It's just so free if you do it properly. If you're good enough with those 2 heroes, you can absolutely outperform and shut down support lines of 3. This in and of itself is its own meta, and it's very strong. I've had a few games against it in GM2 today, and yeah, I can't deny how absolutely strong it is because odds are they're not getting banned out unless you know there's a strong Moon Knight player on the opposition. But we thought through it, and really the best solution to go against Groot and Moon Knight is to absolutely ensure Groot cannot play the game. This is one of the few times I suggest running a Rocket with Punisher and maybe even Winter Soldier, because that combination destroys Groot walls, makes him unable to play. You just need to hard focus him and ensure he's out of the field. If you have
it's such a weird thing with Groot, how just stacking straight damage just invalidates the character
Pressure
entirely.
against Groot, it's super difficult to face and play as Groot, as it's one of his biggest counters. If you don't have walls out, Groot is significantly worse. Running that combination, pressuring walls, and not even worrying about KD or anything else besides making sure Groot
Just go
can't play
Wolverine and Groot
is all
doesn't
you need
exist.
to do. The only
Kidnapping
other option
time.
that's good
Yay.
in this difficulty right now is pure dive, which honestly, if I'm being real with you guys, is very, very hard to do in the low ranks. Pure dive requires setting up and communication, and odds are I'll probably do a video on setting up and how to communicate with dive in the future, but it's really more of a high level tactic. As you saw in the tournaments that I hosted it with some of the tournaments, there was a lot of dive, a lot of people playing Venom and just holding a position until their team was ready, diving the moment that the team could actually commit instead of just trying to be a distraction. And where was my team when I fell? I used all my cooldowns. How did you guys not get value? It's really about communication and understanding and timing. And that is something people struggle with. But in Groot, it's actually really good. If you're able to hard pocket and dive that Moon Knight and not allow him to play the game, your team will have it a lot easier. Getting rid of Moon Knight in that combination makes it super easy for you to then turn around and go after the supports or even the front line on Groot. Either target the
Wolverine
Groot,
counters triple support because you can drag people out of the AoE ults. Yeah.
poke, things like Rocket and Punisher, and really just getting rid of the walls immediately.
But then if they just have a bit of attention, they can just peel for it.
Or you go dive and you get Moon Knight
The
off
worst
the field.
and best
That is
designed Marvel Rivals characters. I think right now it's really hard to say because like factoring in balance, there's a load of things to think about, and some of these characters can be well designed but be really bad, and some of the characters can be badly designed to be really good just because the balance has been put into the right place. So like obviously the answer is something like Scarlet Witch is really bad in terms of design because it's just Moira with more problems and no choices to make, right? But realistically, yeah, the best of Magic, I think Magic's probably the best. Yeah, I think Star-Lord is decently designed. I think he's decent. Yeah, some hero could be cool, but how the gameplay, they're not fun. Yeah, I think that's true.
As simple and as delicate as I can get to how to handle that combination. And the last part of the meta that I think you really only see in the high ranks, but I do want to talk about it because I do think it makes a triangle. Listen why. I think dive is incredibly strong in the right hands. Right now, Cap, Venom, Psylocke, Magic, Spider-Man, all these people that can absolutely dive if your team commits is really strong at the highest level, especially if you get rid of Namor. And the reason it's so successful at the highest level is there's only a few hard counters to dive right now. Penny, which isn't in the best state in terms of high ranked play, and Namor. So if you hard focus ban the Namor out, dive becomes really strong. But like I said, in the lower ranks, it's way less prevalent. So people just don't quite get how to do it. So they think it's not great. But in the end of the day, dive is very strong when you have great communication and an understanding of how to do dive in the first place. So if you're getting tore up and they ban out the Namor and you don't know how to stop the
it's so funny because I feel like triple support is more counter dive comp than anything else, right?
Of those heroes, I would highly suggest to do what we talked about initially and run 3 supports. Doing something like Mantis, Luna, and Loki, where Loki can crystal everyone to keep everyone alive in the fight and then actually do really good damage against dive. And then things like Mantis and Luna who can CC and stop some of that dive so your team can turn and focus.
It's just so sad,
good.
man.
So the 3 support meta does a good job
How did we
the
get
dive
here?
meta. 3 support meta struggles into the Moon Knight, Groot, and obviously some of the counters
like,
I talked about.
I
The
thought
Moon Knight
that
Groot
they
struggles into things like dive and also heavy focus Groot target comps. That is the highest level 3-peat scenario that I am seeing right now in the top ranks. Right now, I'm only GM2, but that's still top 0.04%. It's just
let's see Mills, who said to me that he doesn't think triple support is a problem. I do think triple support is a problem. I think he's crazy. Let's see what he says.
Developing incredibly fast in Marvel Rivals, and there are some new compositions and characters that are really frustrating to deal with. So in this video, we're going to break down the meta strats, tell you exactly how you can counter them or alternatives you can play, realize just how powerful defensive ults are. They can keep you alive through a ton, whether it's Cloak and Dagger or Luna Snow ult, and with someone like Loki, for instance, you can copy an ult and then do it again, having
I think as the game develops, people are going to need to crutch on the defensive ults less. So even if they nerf the defensive ults, I think triple support is still going to be good.
Periods of time where you just don't die. Now, while this composition can be extremely strong when played properly, I think a lot of people are forcing this comp, asking for this comp, and generally just playing this comp poorly. So let's talk about some of the problems of that composition and some of the counter things that you can play to shut it down. Now, the first thing that's deceptively true is that triple support can actually be rather difficult to play. isn't it?
I don't think that's true. I don't think triple support is difficult to play. Not stacking the ults at a high level is difficult, but at low level, triple support is brain dead easy to play.
Inherently reactive composition, trying to take
At high level, yes. But at medium level, like below diamond in rivals, triple support is an AFK and don't die comp.
initiative. You're trying to sustain through opponent's initiative a lot of the time, which
Waiting for the thing, his leak kit might break things. Show me it.
puts the action on your opponents and you, the realm, to respond to it. And most of the time, when you're the one that isn't taking the initiative, snowballs happen less, getting free fight wins happen less. And it really makes it so that every single fight you win, you're gonna have to invest a lot. You're never gonna get a fight for free at all. And you get fights for free all the time in DPS compositions, multiple DPS compositions, because people push up, get trades, get snowballs, and things like that. But
I mean, he's showing himself losing somebody defeating and then winning directly after because his team just stood on point for longer.
also, it's hard to play because all the support players need to be perfectly in sync. And everyone gets super mad when people double support.
They don't need to be in sync. That's kind of the point, dude. Like, at a low level, they don't need to be in sync. They just need to do general stuff and stop stuff happening to them and then walk to point.
But it happens more
It's the lowest
often
common
than any
denominator
other
comp. That's the point.
composition in triple support.
Maybe
And
at high
you
level,
could
yeah.
say, oh, let's have this person do it first, this person do it second. Let's have open communication. Having that open communication is actually hard. It doesn't happen all that often. Everyone knows that in their games. Most people hardly talk, and if they do, the communication isn't always perfectly in sync. You're not standing exactly.
Yeah, like overlapping support salts is massively bad, but what are they going to nerf on supports first? I think it's going to be the ults, dude. So it's going to matter less when we go forwards into the game.
You're asking for, and what do you do when something outside the norm happens? Like someone is super aggressive in your back line, you're getting really heavily pushed by a tank or by a DPS and you'll die. You might just pop ults reactively or just die and not pop ults at all. So there's a lot of variability there that if you're playing in like a full stack or like a scrim lobby or
I think support, so when the sustain ults are going to get nerfed, I think things like Jeff are going to go into it for the cleaving, healing. And I think the sustain's going to get a lot higher.
Along those lines, then yeah, you can
In
have
neutral,
this
not without-
communication
not with
and
ults.
really understand how you're supposed to approach every single situation. But when you're just throwing a bunch of random rank people on triple support, you are gonna mess all of this stuff up. I think triple support requires everyone to play really, really well together and not make these core mistakes. The scarcity of resources that happens, especially if you're rocking something like triple.
I mean, it's going to break the game, but honestly, at this point, I think anything's going to break the game because the game's incredibly fucking fragile.
Support and one tank, this
Especially with
composition
Vanguard charge,
might
yeah.
be like one of the worst. It's actually really bad and it's really easy to abuse. And here's the reason that this is bad, and this is especially bad when you're not playing a support that gives you supplemental utility like Adam or Loki or even Rocket. And here's the reason why. There is not enough HP for you to mass heal. Like if you have one tank, let's say you have one Magneto, that person is not taking a lot of damage. And if you go up against two tanks with two supports, both of their supports will reach their ultimate when everyone on your team is at like 50%.
That's true. Splitting healing support ult charge does matter. But in lower ranks, people aren't going to use that ult immediately anyway. Like it's going to start getting happening again around diamond or higher.
And if they just ult first, y'all just lose fights, and then in the next fight when they start comboing ultimates with their one DPS or the two DPS ultimates, you're gonna have to respond and trade out all your support ultimates.
Nice soul bond there.
And by the time you're done with all that, they're building up more support ults. So it's like you're behind in tempo dramatically, and you can
I want them
offset
to break
that
the game just so I can see how they try and fix it. Like if they added a tank for the AoE primary attack, yeah, or a mercy
by being
character.
aggressive and doing damage and stuff like that. But your damage,
I guess you can't break it with a mercy type character simply because all the healing's amp anyway. So
to be quite as much as
Ball in
a
Rivals seems
DPS
like a
with
good
your
idea.
slot.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
not
I think
gonna apply as much
so too.
pressure with purely your damage, and there's not enough raw healing for you to actually take advantage of the fact that you can generate an ult really fast. Now this could definitely be offset with certain supports, like I talked about. Supports like Adam, Warlock, really I think are important in a triple support composition, or Loki, or whatever the case may be, providing extra utility outside of the norm of just pumping a ton of heals. I know the other supports do offer a lot, but not quite the same amount of like raw damage specs as someone like Adam. And that's
As it
really
in Rivals will work. I mean, anything will work in Rivals because Rivals is single target tanks that just yeet themselves at DPS. Like any of the boring design designs from Overwatch 2 work fine, yeah.
Important because you want to make sure
It's just the
that
interesting designs of tanks don't work,
your
right?
supports are not all fighting for that same resource so that they can build their ultimates appropriately.
Yeah, I hate
now,
Adam
the thing
Warlock too.
about
It's an
triple
awful
support as
character.
well, and the reason that I highly recommend not trying to force this. Like, you can definitely play it if you have the people on your team that are good at support, but don't be throwing people on other roles into this composition, because the ways to counter it are actually really easy. So, number one, Iron Man plus Hulk.
Mal getting rivals wouldn't work. It would destroy the game. Would it? Would Mal destroy the game? Just cardiac?
Everyone knows just how busted this comp is because Hulk and Iron Man got banned at high level, like, consistently. And they still get banned quite a bit, but especially if you're underneath the ban ranks, Iron Man plus Hulk just completely farms.
Do you think Iron Man Hulk farms triple tank? Triple support under the bracket rank? Triple support, 2 tanks, 1 hit scan. I think still wins against
Triple
that.
support for a number of reasons. Number one, Iron Man is going to be more or less uncontested. Not a lot of supports can contest him. Only really Adam Warlock can contest him. And if you have less DPS, there's
No, Luna and Mantis can contest him. Don't
to
bullshit
challenge
me.
the Iron Man, which allows him to do his job a lot easier, and then he can just ult burst through all the
Idea,
support.
make Adam Warlock have 2 harmony orbs instead of an instant heal. Yeah, and instead of his soul bond, put a discord orb on him, and instead of the ultimate that reses, make it so he puts his arms out and heals people. Yeah,
So that's one. Two, a character like Moon Knight gets to farm ultimate actually at a faster rate than a lot of supports can, trade out a crazy amount of damage that chains together, and build an ultimate that supports can't survive through. So he's another extremely strong character against something like triple support. And
yeah, but Moon Knight's gonna get nerfed, right? Can we all just agree if they're gonna nerf anything, it's Moon Knight's ult being able to insta kill through anything without being avoidable. That's gonna be nerfed. So like, it's not relevant to bring it up as the ultimate effect. Right now, it's relevant, but surely the next patch, if they have any sense whatsoever, yeah, and yeah, it's also bugged. I saw that as well. Each one of the talons is hitting twice, right?
the weaknesses to Moon Knight is characters that are specifically targeting him. So it's mostly about
It was
the
hitting
fact
twice.
that supports can't apply pressure, and
But
that's
still
the
insta
big
kills
thing.
now, right?
They can't go and chase a Moon Knight down on the high ground that's just constantly free aiming, free shooting, free dealing damage. But you know, Psylocke can, and freaking even Black Panthers can, and Star-Lords can, and a lot of DPS can, and even some tanks can, but triple support cannot, and that's the weakness of this composition, and a lot of people are acting like it has none. It definitely does.
Well, the weakness of the composition, I'd say, is that quite a lot of the supports at the moment don't know how to DPS. I think that's quite a lot of the weakness that we actually find.
Super strong character against this is Hawkeye. I know Hawkeye does get banned quite a bit at high elos, but in elos that he's not banned, Hawkeye just gets to free fire. Once again, it's a character that if you do not directly contest him, he just gets to shoot and shoot and shoot, and eventually he kills somebody, right? He just gets to kill people for free. And honestly, Hawkeye is actually escaping bans at high elo a lot more, but he's a great character to punch.
That's true. People are already escaping bans. Characters that are broken are already escaping bans because they got too many bad characters in the game. It's so stupid.
About ults when, you know, every
Hero
shot
bans will
you
save
kill
us.
somebody. I
Yay.
mean, that's as simple as it is. Now, of course, we have some of the more obvious combos like Groot plus Moon Knight, which is just a kill combo through defensive ultimates. And if you just generate this every single fight, you just Groot ult everyone together, then you Moon Knight ult them. They're just gonna die. They're just gonna fall over.
This WM1 video game where you just press Q properly onto the enemy team.
You can even do something similar to this with Namor ultimate as well, depending on the support ultimates. But having a combo of ultimates that can guarantee win you a fight at certain core
The bucket is overflowing and they have more heroes coming. They'll just make a bigger bucket, Amon. It's fine. They'll just add more hero bands. Then add more hero bands. Then add more hero bands.
Just pull tanks way out of position to a point where supports can't really keep them alive or keep them up.
Take the casual play base 6 months to 1 year to realize how boring playing against supports are? No, it will not take that long. How long has it been since release now? 2 months? Is it more than 2 months? Was it released for Christmas? All right. When was the release? 6th of December? So it isn't 2 months. We are on track, guys. Guys, we're actually on track. It's almost 2 months. We're on track. Do you know what we're on track with? It's almost 1 month. 1 month for people at the high level to realize there's a problem. 2 months for it to be publicly there that people are actively talking about the problem. 3 months for the casual player base to know the problem. That's what's going to happen, guys.
Up and then they just basically get a tank deleted. They just take a tank.
We're
way
on
out of
schedule.
position,
People
get
are
that
talking
tank
about it.
killed, and yeah, supports are just kind of left there, you know, hoping and praying, because that is
We're actually probably ahead of
powerful way
schedule.
to interact with the fight that, you know, supports can't necessarily stop. Invisible Woman does have quite a bit of counterplay into that,
Sanyu.
but I actually don't even think she is one of the strongest supports in the triple support composition. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. Now, to round that out, we also got to talk about Magneto, a character that is actually seeing probably just as much, if not more, play than Doctor Strange.
I swear to God, if he says this character's seeing play and this character's really good simply because they can throw a rocket, cloak, and dagger, I'm gonna off myself. Jesus Christ, what a depressing thing to have to say about a video game.
Right, Magneto is great at dealing with Cloak and Dagger. And specifically Cloak and Dagger, she's super easy for you to shut down when
Oh, what a terrible video game, man.
you're playing Magneto, because she pops her ult,
Oh,
you pop
God.
yours, and if you absorb a little bit of damage,
Imagine self-reporting on your game being that bad like this. They pick Cloak and Dagger, you pick Magneto, so you can kill the support ult, so you don't have to wait for 20 seconds,
can
right?
actually dash-
I know
and
everyone
yeah, you
thinks
can
this
pretty
is cool, but is this gonna be fun in like 2 weeks, guys? Slop out a game.
do this every single time. Cancel.
Is this gonna be fun in 2 weeks for you guys? Is you pick A, I pick B, I insta-kill you so you can never use your ult actually gonna be interesting, right? Is that gonna be fun? No, it's gonna be hilariously boring. It's gonna be boring. It already is f***ing boring.
Cloak ult and kill her, and yeah, I mean,
What a
looks are getting
depressing
really
self-report.
kinda crafty.
Look at this. Look at this fun and engaging fight from the start.
Hit the tanks or
Oh well, we're close to point.
Game.
3 meters. They stall with one person.
I'll get more ult charge, but then
We kill them. We're fine. Our guy fed for no reason. Oh, all right, 50-50.
I'm actually playing worse
A little bit of damage into the tank, going to the back
than
line.
what I would be if I was actually
Oh, they just used a support ult. Take your hands off the keyboard.
play properly.
You traded for a better ultimate. Yay!